Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you're all in great condition and may Allah bless us with His blessing. Today I will give a presentation about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes written by Arthur Conan Doyle. And I almost forget about introducing myself. Hello, my name is ARGA from grade 8B. And let's move on to the presentation. In the table of content, it contains two things, introduction and literary elements. Introduction will be explaining about the author, the book, and also the short summary. Introduction. Author Conan Doyle. Let's start off with the author. He was born in the 1800s and died in the mid-1900s. He was a Scottish doctor and writer and was born in Edinburgh, England. His famous work is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes has been around for a little while, and I mean not while, but has been around for a long since it first came out in the 1900s. The book that I bought is a Barnes & Noble 2014 version, and not the original 1900 version. The book has a red cover and inside has a monochrome artwork. I will give a brief summary. So the story starts off with Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes being hired by a person that is trying to protect Henry Baskerville from being slaughtered by a manslaughtering dog that has been haunting the Baskerville family for a very, very long time. And Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes has been digging and trying to solving the case. And for one night, Dr. Henry Baskerville was on his way to his house, and then he stumbled upon a rock and then fell, and the dog almost killed him. Before Sherlock Holmes was too late, Sherlock Holmes pulled the trigger and killed the dog. So the dog was a hound from hell and has been a curse around the Baskerville family. Now let's start with the literary elements. In the literary elements, there will be settings, characterization, theme, moral value, and conclusion. The settings. The most frequent place in the story is the Baker Street, since it is the place where Dr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. and Watson lounge and trying to solve a case together. The Baskerville Hall. The Baskerville Hall is the place where the Baskerville family lives, and also the place where Dr. Henry Baskerville almost gets killed. Characterization. Let's start off with our main character, Sherlock Holmes. He is a detective in England, and he is very famous for his intelligence and his obsesses over a case. On the other way around, Dr. Watson is a more patient and modest person. They are both inseparable, and they are both in partners in solving cases. Dr. Watson actually, in the story, is kind of distant to Sherlock Holmes since Dr. Watson is married. So you can say Dr. Watson is a very romantic man. The theme. The main idea of this story is a conflict between rationalism and superstition. The book that I read has a story about the Hound of the Baskerville, and it is the main story. The main story is about a man trying to kill a man for inheritance. So Dr. Henry Baskerville is actually a very rich man in a rich family. He gets inheritance from their great-great-grandfather, the Baskerville, who was killed also by the Hound. And someone is trying to get that money by using a hound to kill the last remaining Baskerville. Moral value. I only get 3 moral values while reading this book since it is more focused on solving cases. So what I get is trust only the facts, care for your close ones, and think outside the box. Sherlock Holmes always trusts only the facts. Even though he has an alibi informant, he always trusts his close ones, and that is Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes are inseparable. They are always together in every way, outside cases and also inside cases. Sherlock Holmes, like I said, is very famous for his intelligence, and that is why he always thinks outside the box on every single case. Conclusion. When I read this book, I was actually pretty bored with it. Halfway through the problem, I was that lazy to read the storyline. Um, Different than other books that I read, this is the most boring that I've read. Since it takes a very long time to process and it takes a very, very long time to read until we get to the problem. I do not recommend it for all ages. I do not recommend it even for my age, since it contains manslaughter, gore, and even other stuff that are not very suitable for our age. Like I said, this story is about a man slaughtering half. So that's why I don't recommend it for all ages. And that is all from my presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.